Okay, so the first problem that most people encounter when it comes to writing songs is they don't know how to start. They normally have nothing and they, wait around for some sort of inspiration to come along or some idea to pop into their head so they can end up writing a song. Now, the reality is that very rarely happens. There might be the odd genius out there who just sits there and, stuff comes to them and away they go. But for most people who have a desire to write songs, the problem is they sit there and they haven't got anything, and it's like, how do I get from nothing, just sitting in this chair with the guitar in my hand, to having a complete song? Okay, well, I'm going to tell you how to do that. There's a great saying that says, good composers borrow, great composers steal. Now, you might not think that stealing music is something that I should be endorsing, and I don't suggest that you steal it verbatim, note for note, but being inspired by other pieces of music is something that all composers do, right back from classical music up to modern day pop, rock, whatever it is, the genre of music. It's something that's been done from the dawn of time when people started writing music. Now, one thing I do recommend is that you get my Write Your Own Rock Riffs DVD. Okay, that will help you with the riff section, although it's not essential. So, if you're sitting there with absolutely nothing, and the first thing you need to do is to decide what type of song that you want to write. So obviously we're doing rock songs on this DVD, but do I want to write a slow song, or do I want to write a fast song, medium tempo song? What style of rock song do I want to write? Is it going to be more bluesy? And then what I normally do is I listen to music that I like, okay? And then when I find a track that I think is really awesome and I think, yeah, I love that track, then normally that's a good indication of the fact that I want to write something around that track. Okay, so what I'll normally do if I'm, coming up to a point where I want to, 4 songs or 5 songs, I'll normally start looking around for what I call plots. Now, a plot is a song that already exists, a recording that already exists, that I'm going to use to inspire me, and I'm going to use it to help me get from nothing to hopefully a completed song. So, the first thing I'll do is I'll get a track that I really like, really inspires me, and I think, great. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll look at the format of that song, okay? Because a lot of people don't really, sort of understand how long the intro should be, how long the verse should be, how long the bridge should be, how long the chorus should be, etc., etc., etc. And so what I'll do is I will listen to that song and I will think, okay, so how long is their intro? Okay, now if that intro is 4 bars, then maybe I'll make my intro 4 bars, okay? If then the verse comes in straight after that, then what I'll do is I'll think, well, okay, how long is their verse? If their verse is 16 bars or 8 bars, then I'll make my verse the same. Now, the good thing about doing this is as you go along, you might decide in your song that you want to make your verse a little bit shorter or a little bit longer. And of course you can do that because really you're using this plot or this song that already exists as a jumping off point to get you from nothing to your completed piece of work. Okay, so then I'll maybe move on to the bridge. How long is the bridge? How long is the solo? What type of solo it is? And then that will give me a kind of an idea of, what my structure is going to be. Okay, now let's say, for example, the song has like a shuffle beat. Now in drumming terms, a shuffle beat is like, that's it. So then what I probably would do is maybe get this beat down on my computer so that I've got it running there, and then I'll start playing with some ideas over the top of it. So the first thing I might do is take the riff or the chord sequence or whatever it may be that's at the start of the song that I'm working to, okay, and then I'll start to think, well, okay, how can I change this piece of music that already exists to make it, more my own? And the first thing that I'll probably do is change the key. Okay, so in very simple terms, let's just say, for example, we've got this shuffle beat, and say, let's say, very, very simple riff, say the riff's going. So that's the riff that I'm working from. Now that's not a riff that I know exists, but let's just say this is a piece of music that already exists. I've now got my shuffle beat, and the riff that opens the song that I'm working to goes. I apologise if I don't play it the same every time, but obviously I'm kind of doing this from scratch. It's important for me to sort of do this and kind of just pull it out of my head to show you that it can be done in real time. So the first thing I'll probably do is think, well, how can I disguise this so it's not exactly the same as the thing that I'm working to? And the first tool I would probably use is to change the key. So for example, in here I'm in A. So for example, I might say, okay, let's change it to E. So there, I have it in E now. So obviously it still sounds exactly the same. So now what I've got to do is change the chords around a bit. So maybe instead of going up, I'll do a thing where maybe I'll start at the bottom and then come up and work down, just to make it sound different. Like 3, 4. So already we're starting to get away from the original riff that we had, okay? And now I think, well, maybe I'll drop one chord out, make it a little bit less to make it, you know, even a little bit different again. So let's try it. 2, 3, 4. Okay, or maybe I say, well, what I'll do is I'll put like a couple of notes in with it to change it again. So I might go. Okay, and I'll mess around with it, trying out different ideas with notes, different key, combinations of things until I think it's, you know, far enough away. Now another thing I might do is change the tempo a little bit. The tempo, making it faster or slower, will again take it away from that original piece. Okay, so let's change the tempo. I'm going to try and making it a little bit slower. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so hopefully we can agree that the first riff, if I can remember it, which went a bit faster, has now become a bit slower. Okay, now again, I might want to change the rhythm of it. It doesn't necessarily have to stay as a shuffle. It could become like a straight eights thing now. Straight eights would be. I can still keep all the bar times the same. It can be the same number of bars for the intro or the same number of bars for the verse, bridge, solo section, what have you. But what I can now do is say, okay, well, I'm not going to go with that shuffle because I still want to take it away from the original a little bit more, and I'll make it straight eights. Okay, so you can see my point. What I'll keep doing is messing around with the riff, changing the tempo, changing the key, changing the rhythm to try and take it away from that original thing. Okay, so that's given you an idea of how to come up with the initial riff, how to use a plot, and then how to start taking that plot that you're using sort of away from its original concept to make it your own. All right, so what we're going to actually do now is I've got a song that I've written, and I'm going to show you how I came up with the initial riff and how I, you know, went from basically nothing to the completed song, and then I'll teach it to you so that you can play along with the backing track, and I'll also explain to you why each section sounds like it does.